All right, everybody, welcome to another 30-minute webinar put on by Flyte New Media. My name is Rich Brooks. I am going to be your host for today, and we are going to talk about email marketing for small business, and we're really going to focus on list building, the list building component of email marketing today. We're going to have about 30 minutes of content, and then if you need to get out of here, I totally understand it. You go take off. If you want to stick around and ask me some questions that are specific to your needs, please let me know that as well. I probably won't be checking questions during the presentation, but I will be checking them after, so feel free to fire off any questions you may have during the presentation as we go along. So email and list building has always been a passion of mine. When people come into my office and talk about a new website, or they want to rank on the first page of Google, or they want to run some Facebook ads, I always end up directing the conversation to, how will this help build your email list? How can we turn those email subscribers into customers and revenue? I have this digital marketing podcast you may know, but if you don't, it's called the Agents of Change. And in it, I get to interview marketing experts each week on topics like Pinterest, local SEO, paid search, Instagram stories, all over the place. But regardless of the expert's area of expertise, all of them are focused on building their email list. They know that if they want to get hired as a consultant or sell more courses, that they need to have this robust email list. So even if you're a Facebook marketing expert, you're going to pay more attention to getting new email subscribers than to getting more Facebook followers. In fact, often when I do get asked the question, if you were starting your business today with everything you've learned over the past 20 years, what would you do differently? The answer is that I would start building my email list from day one and never let up. So I'm going to start off the way I often do by just mentioning this framework that we use here at Flyte called the Bare Essentials of Digital Marketing. And today I'm going to talk about how email marketing fits into all of this. So BARE is an acronym. The B is for build. Building a platform, a website that turns visitors into customers. This is a critical aspect of list building and email marketing because one of the wins, one of the conversion points that we want to focus on is getting people to join our list, and that happens most often at our website. A is for attract, or how do we drive traffic to our website? Now, certainly our emails can drive traffic to our website, but I tend to focus mostly on search, social, and digital ads to get those first-time visitors to your site. Retain is really where email marketing shines. This is how do you get people to stay in touch with you after they've left your website? And this is all about email marketing and a little bit of retargeting as well. And finally, evaluate, or how to measure and analyze your results. And with that, email marketing, both looking at your Google Analytics as well as your email service providers' metrics, are really going to help you understand the power of email marketing, what's working, what's not, what's getting opened, what's getting people to click on the unsubscribe button. So there's a lot of important information that you need to check out there. So who am I? Well, my name is Rich Brooks, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm the president of Flyte New Media. We're a web design and internet marketing company located in beautiful Portland, Maine, where it is a balmy 39 degrees today. And no, I'm not joking, it feels like 100 out there after this cold snap we've had. I also founded the Agents of Change, which is both the weekly podcast as well as an annual conference that takes place here in Portland, Maine, as well as online, bringing about 400 people every year, even more online. And we talk about, with a bunch of other presenters, how do you reach more of your ideal customers who search social and mobile marketing. I'm also the tech guru on 207, which is the evening news program for the NBC affiliates up here in Maine, where I do hard-hitting news stories like what are the best recipe websites online and how to take better pictures with your smartphone. And earlier this year, or actually I guess now it's last year, I published my first book called The Lead Machine, The Small Business Guide to Digital Marketing, where I go into all of these topics in a lot more detail. But let's focus on email today. Why am I so bullish on email? First of all, email is stable, perhaps unlike your ex. What I really mean by that is with social media platforms like Facebook, you're at the mercy of the algorithm. Posts on Facebook business pages used to reach 80 to 90% of your fans. Now that's down to 1 to 3% for most business pages. Or maybe you build a following on Twitter only to find out that the only people who get traction and engagement there anymore are sports stars, celebrities, and the current president of the United States. Likewise, you could go to bed being on the first page of Google, and then you go to sleep and you wake up and they've updated their algorithm and suddenly you're invisible. Now, email is imperfect, but at least it's stable compared to other digital marketing tactics. What else? Well, email is intimate. Social media tends to be one-to-many. We want to get as many likes, comments, shares as possible. Email is very much one-to-one. I email you, and you can talk directly to me. We can parlay. Email is mobile. And by this, I don't mean mobile friendly, although absolutely your emails must be mobile friendly. I mean that you can take your list from MailChimp and move it to Constant Contact or vice versa. That you own the list and you can take it with you when you outgrow your email service provider or your ESP. Also, you know what else? You can take that email list, you can upload it to services like Twitter or Facebook and advertise to people on your list or people like the people on your list to get in front of an even bigger qualified audience. Pretty cool, right? Email is unavoidable. You go to a meeting, you attend a 30-minute webinar, you go for lunch, you take a quick nap, you're going to miss thousands of tweets, Facebook updates, LinkedIn statuses. But any email that ends up in your inbox will still be there when you get back, for better or worse. Email is for selling. Now, I know from selling tickets to our annual Agents of Change digital marketing conference, when I look at our results, the bulk of our ticket sales, the majority of our ticket sales come from email. Not from social media, not from SEO, not even paid ads. Email drives sales. End of discussion. So why focus so much on list building then? Well, in a word, and hopefully you know this word, shrinkage. People leave jobs. They change ISPs. They outgrow their needs for your services. Because of that, your list is always going to be going underneath shrinkage. So you constantly need to be adding to your email list subscribers and at a faster rate than you're losing them. So maybe you're wondering, how big a list do I actually need? Well, if you've got a low margin product, or if you can sell your product to anyone, if anybody could be your customer, or if you have a product you can sell an infinite number of times, such as ebooks or digital courses, then you should grow your list as big as you can, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, or bigger. Now, if you're an architect, say that builds schools in northern New England, there's probably only 200 to 300 people tops that would be interested in being on your list. So focus on ways of getting this niche group to sign up. So how do we grow these lists? What are some of the tools that we can use? First, a website. And yes, it's true. You can grow your list offsite and even offline, but the bulk of your energy and focus should be on your website. Your website should be a lead machine, no pun intended. And the best way to generate leads is through an email sign-up. And we'll take a look at a number of things you can be doing on your website in just a few minutes. An email service provider. You're going to need an ESP like Constant Contact, or MailChimp, Aweber, or whichever reputable company you like. It has to be a reputable company. I know a lot of people like to go with discount providers. The problem is with discount providers is that they usually are the tools of spammers, and so your emails are going to be seen as spammers. And I know a few people try and send out lists from their Gmail or from their Outlook. Really, you need a true email service provider. It's worth the money. I personally use Constant Contact, and I'm spending like maybe $25 a month, $30 a month. It's a drop in the bucket, especially with the value that you get from email service providers. And I'm happy to answer any questions about some of those benefits as well. Next, you're going to need what I call a conversion optimizer. And these are products like Lead Pages, which is what we use here at Flyte, but there's also Opt-in Monster or Unbounce. Those are other examples that people like. I find that ESPs, email service providers, are great for managing your lists and for sending out emails, but they're not as good for helping you optimize your conversion rate. So I use lead pages in conjunction with Constant Contact for better reporting and improved conversions. So for example, I might have a pop-up lead page after you click something, or maybe on a timer, and then I can test A/B split test things to kind of see, was it this image or was it this call to action that got more people to take action. So I can really continually improve my conversion rates that way. And lastly, analytics and reporting. So Google Analytics and your email service provider's reports and reports from your conversion optimizer are going to tell you how you got new subscribers, how they found your website, exactly which opt-in form is effective and which isn't, which offer that you have may generate more subscribers, and other important pieces of data. And the more you know, the better you're going to get at getting people to opt into your email newsletter, because you're going to have hopefully a steady stream of people coming to your website. And if you can increase the number of those people who sign up for your email newsletter, you get to stay in front of more people. So it's something you should regularly be working on. So as I mentioned, website's probably most critical. Now, as I sat down to create this presentation, I decided to use Flyte's own email marketing campaigns for different screen captures. And this turned out to be kind of an eye-opening experience and a little bit perhaps of a sobering experience. We have been doing email marketing for so long. I mentioned we've been in business for 20 years and run so many different campaigns that trying to get data was a nightmare. As I like to say, our email marketing garden had become overrun. I found plenty of inconsistencies. I spent 2 full days hacking away at the overgrowth so we could get back to proper marketing and measurement. I found things like different separate landing pages after people subscribed to the same email newsletter. Each had its own messaging. Not all of them were consistent with the way we talk anymore. Sent them to different thank you pages, asked for different pieces of information. None of this is wrong per se, but you should be aware of what's going on. And ultimately what I did is I spent quite a bit of time cleaning this up, so we were always asking for the same pieces of information, which was only name and email, with one exception. On our contact form we asked for a little bit more, but that's fine, so that we would always be able to address things to the person who subscribed. So we also had a bunch of our welcome messages were all over the place. So what I might recommend is go through your email sign up process. And if you have more than one place where people can sign up for emails, go ahead and sign up in different places, just so you go through that customer path and you understand what they're getting. And because there's a lot of messaging out there that's part of the whole process that you're not going to see on a day-to-day basis. So big pro tip there is every once in a while, go sign up for your own email newsletter. So here are some things. Here's some ways that you can get people to opt into your email newsletter on your website. First off, don't groan, the pop-up. We'll talk a little bit more about each one of these as time goes on. The footer and the header. If you've got a blog is a great place to collect email addresses. Page-specific value adds, and I'll explain what that means. Your contact form. And squeeze pages. I'm sure there are a lot more places and ways of getting people to sign up on your website, but these are 6 critical ways that you can use. So let's take a look at each one. First of all, pop-ups. Yeah, marketers love them. Web visitors hate them. That's the general consensus, right? I know I was getting tired of them. When I'm on a site that throws up a pop-up, actually, technically, something like this is called a light box or a modal window, but, it's basically a pop-up. If I'm on a site that throws up a pop-up as soon as I get there, I'm looking for that X to close it as quickly as possible. And I'm assuming that everybody's like me. We've all developed this pop-up blindness. It's like walking into a discount furniture chain and having 4 salespeople grab you limb by limb, each trying to pull you into one section of the store. It's just too much, too fast. Please let me browse. So a few months ago, with no data to back me up, because hey, that's how I roll, or at least that's how I rolled, I deleted the pop-up that we had from our website. But since I'm trying to measure everything, I looked at the report in lead pages. It showed me that even though I may find them annoying, over 1,600 people, 1,666, specifically signed up via that pop-up while it was running and had a conversion rate of 1.41. So I turned it back on. I did make one change. I actually had it pop up on the second page So people would surf one page, and so for the people who were just there and they bounced right off the site, I didn't bother them. For people who made it to a second page, I paused 20 seconds or 15 seconds, and then I showed them the pop-up. I don't have a screen capture from that, but this was my balancing act, trying to find out. I don't want to annoy people, but if you are going to a second page on my website, chances are you've got some interest in digital marketing. You probably want to sign up for our email newsletter. Another place where you should be putting is your headers and footers, and this is obviously a screen capture of the footer on our website. And this is just a simple offer. Hey, free updates, send you a bunch of cool stuff, send me free awesome stuff. You click on this link and you get a pop-up. And so again, this is a pop-up, but it's not the kind of pop-up where you're not expecting it. You click on that and then you get people to sign up. And it's interesting. So Lead Pages, the company I mentioned, has some data to back up that people are more likely to opt in when they click on that link and then they see the pop-up rather than showing them the email sign up right there. And so I've tried that. And to be honest, I'm not thrilled with the results that I've had. So I've got like a conversion rate of 1.65, which is higher than the other one. But again, that means basically almost 99 out of 100 people who said they wanted free awesome stuff to be sent to them didn't go ahead and give me the information so I could send it to them. And you can see here, this is a screen capture from Lead Pages. We're doing some A/B split testing here. So the variation number 1 actually did about almost 5% better than the original. So the next step would be is to shut off the original, take the variation, and then play around with the variation and basically try and A/B split that so we can continually get better results from this. That was a regular footer, but you could also have a sticky footer like we have on the Agents of Change site, and we can also have a sticky header as well. And all that means is it stays in one place as somebody scrolls through the website. Ours is down here. And again, I didn't think this was much of a come on, but we actually got most of our signups through that get update. So again, don't just assume that people aren't going to sign up in one place or they will sign up another. Take a look at your data. A blog is a great place because people are already looking for content, they're looking for information, and all emails are a way of getting people back to your website, getting them more content. I want to show you a couple things that we did on our blog to try and increase signups. We have this header area right here. Join over 11,500 other marketers. So we're immediately using some social proof here. We tell people exactly what they can expect when they sign up. We've got a quote from an influencer in an industry, and then we've got this nice big red, easy to find, clickable link right there in the header. On the right-hand column, we've got free updates, join Flyte Club. Not especially a huge, exciting come on, something to play around with in the future for sure. As I look at our stats, the views are much lower here, but the conversions are much higher. We're hitting over 9% of the people who click on that link are finishing signing up, so that's pretty cool. You could also go with page-specific value adds. What does that mean? So somebody comes to an article. In this case, it's like, does your SEO suck? And as people are scrolling both at the top of the article and then down throughout the article, we have these little buttons that say, don't have time to read this. Download our SEO checklist now. And by clicking on that, it asks for your email address and your name and sends you the information, and now you're on our list. So that's another great way of getting people to join your list. So take a look at some of your highest performing blog posts, ones where people are finding them through the search engines, or they're just visiting that page, they're reading that content, and then maybe they're not taking another step. Maybe it's a big exit page if you look at your Google Analytics. And try using some sort of value add. In this case, all we did is basically did a cleaned up version of this 13-point checklist. But you could also do something that's related to the blog post that might be really valuable. And things that don't take a lot of time, like a checklist or a cheat sheet, those appear to be very valuable to people. They have a high perceived benefit, so those are good things to experiment with. And this is just the results that we got from this. It was 348 opt-ins, conversion rate of 2.5. And again, it was the exact same content that was in the blog. It took my designer maybe under an hour to take that information and make it look prettier than it does on the blog and turn it into a PDF and send it back to me. So in my mind, an hour of work, maybe another hour on my part just to make sure that everything worked and tested it and all this sort of stuff. For 348 opt-ins and counting, that's fantastic, especially because once people are on my email list, I have an opportunity to continue on the conversation, to increase brand awareness of Flyte New Media or whatever your company might be. So again, I think this is a great ROI. And actually, just to go back there for a second, on the offers that you're making, you don't have to recreate the wheel. Just find something that's already working and then just put it behind an email registration. So contact form. We also ask people if they want to join our email list as part of our contact form. And we choose to go opt-in rather than pre-check the box and require people to opt out. Obviously, we'd have more people signing up if it was an opt-out rather than an opt-in, because people just skim through things. But we want people who are choosing to join our list. Now, I don't have metrics on this one because we're not running it through lead pages. We're just running it through the contact form. We're a WordPress agency, and we're using Gravity Forms is our favorite form tool, form builder. I'm okay, though, with this because I don't think this stat is as important. If someone's filling out our contact form, it's generally because they're interested in doing business with us, so getting them on our email list is gravy, so I'm a little less concerned about it. There's that right there. So that's another effective way. If you've got a contact form and you're not asking people to join your email list, it's just another missed opportunity. And then we've got landing pages. So landing pages are squeeze pages. I mean, on one hand, every page on your website is a landing page. When I talk about landing pages or squeeze pages, I'm talking about a page that may or may not be hosted at your website, but generally there's no navigation, no distractions on it, and you're just driving people to a page where they can put in certain contact information. And this was one that Amanda O'Brien from my office used when she was doing a presentation on Facebook. She created actually for our clients a Facebook ad planner. And we would give it out to our clients who are doing Facebook ads with us to kind of, make better ads. And so we decided, since we'd been told it was a very helpful document, we turned it into a lead magnet. So both here and in other places, but here, all you need to do is, in this case, you give us your contact information and you get the email magnet, the lead magnet. So this is a great tool to use. And again, you don't have to make it part of your website. You can put it anywhere. If you're using something like Lead Pages, you actually can just generate it right at Lead Pages, so you don't need to even deal with putting it up on your website. Now, recently I saw a presentation from a woman who said she did some testing and found that she got better opt-in rates when there was navigation up front. That has not been my experience, so I would recommend testing this out. You might create two landing pages, one that looks, say, like this, and one that looks like this but has your navigation at the top, and just see which one performs better, gets a better conversion rate. The reason why I like not having any distractions on it, because I don't want them then to leave this page and then go to the About Us section or go visit the blog and then kind of forget about why they were there in the first place and leave without giving me their email. So that's kind of why I do this. Now, if you're like, yeah, but maybe I want to get them more information afterwards, well, you could set up a thank you page or after this. So after they give you the information, you can send them anywhere you like. So I still feel like these narrow squeeze pages with minimal information on it are the best way to go in terms of getting people to opt into your email list. So we spent a lot of time looking at different ways to sign up for your email list. Let's just talk for a few minutes about how to improve the conversion rates at each one of these doorways. First of all, just draw attention. You can draw attention to your sign-up boxes with contrasting colors, with size, movement, and imagery such as arrows or fingers pointing, or even just a person looking at the opt-in. You should build trust. As we discussed before, you can share the size of your list or get testimonial from subscribers or influencers, customers, whatever it may be. These are all ways you can build trust and get people more likely to opt in. Establish expectations. You can tell people how often you're going to email them or what type of content they're going to receive. Is it discounts in your store, or is it educational information that will improve their life, health, or relationships? Just be upfront about it so they're not surprised when they get your email. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, create an offer. This is critical. Although you don't need an offer or giveaway with every single sign-up box, and as you've seen, we don't use them in every single sign-up box. You do need to create an irresistible offer that makes people think that they'd have to be a fool not to give you their email address. So what kind of offer should you be creating? There's a lot of different types of offers, obviously. One thing to keep in mind is that people are less likely to sign up if there's a significant time investment on their part. For example, a 1-hour consult with you may be incredibly valuable, but for somebody who doesn't know you yet, that time investment is on their end, not yours. So that's them giving up an hour. So that's probably not a good freebie to give away. Here are some popular offers that can turn visitors into subscribers. Downloads such as an ebook, white paper, industry report, they all work well. You don't always have to create something new. As we've said before, you can bundle related blog posts into a PDF as a giveaway, or you can repurpose content you've already created. Webinars. There's a time investment, 30 minutes in this case, but I found this to be a very powerful way to get new subscribers, as going on right now. Free online courses. I've known many digital marketers who blew up their list by offering a free, simple online course that led people to buy a more in-depth, expensive course down the road. Contests, raffles or giveaways are great as well. If you have a big ticket item, randomly choosing one subscriber a month or for the product or a coupon good in the company store will work well. And of course, store discounts, because everybody loves a discount. We've talked almost exclusively online, but let's just mention offline for a minute. There's a lot of different things that you can do to grow off your offline. Social channels, sites like Facebook, Twitter, SlideShare, all allow you to collect email addresses from people without even making them leave those sites. Guest appearances. If you ever have an opportunity of guest blogging on another website or being a guest on a podcast or radio show, you can create a special URL and drive listeners or viewers for a free gift behind an email sign-up, so you get in front of a new audience. Live presentations. You can create or repurpose a value add and ask people to either give you a business card so you can send it to them. Just be clear that they're being added to your list. Or create a simple opt-in form that they can access on their smartphone, something like Amanda did when in that previous slide. Products. Writing a book, perhaps? Well, create a workbook readers can download from your site and put it behind an email registration. This can be done with almost any product. Crockpot might include links to a recipe book, for example, and it's helpful when you're not the actual seller, such as when you're selling on Amazon or really any retailer in the real world. Well, that's the content for today. I hope after this you feel a lot more confident in the ways that you can build your list and the importance of building your list. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I did have some sort of sign up, and I apparently have added that or not updated the slide since then. So if you head on over to takeflyte.com/SMBME, I'm guessing there's some sort of giveaway for you, assuming it's still up. That's it for today. If you need to take off, take off. If you've got questions, I've got answers. If you haven't asked any questions, but you've got them now, please just feel free to shout them out, and we'll go from there. All right. Here's one of the questions right now. We offer healthcare services, retail sales, public policy advocacy, and we ask for money, philanthropy. We have 100 lists broken down by geography, interest, whatever. I would call those segments, not lists, but okay. We treat everyone very differently. People who want sales alerts don't get asked for year and end-of-year donations. Do you think this is a good strategy, or should we have some content continuity among segments? I think it's great that you do segment your list, not something we really got into today. For those of you who don't know, you can segment your list by sending out, first by segmenting them, saying, different groups of people, and then sending out different emails to different people. It's a little bit more time consuming, but it's much more effective. But the question being, should you have some content continuity among segments? Yeah, I definitely think so. I think there's some missed opportunity here. There may be people who want to know about sales or offers, but at the same time, they also want to make a donation at the end of the year or vice versa. So I do think that, having a annual call to action or something like that might be beneficial, or maybe once a quarter, maybe once a year, sending out an email that kind of goes to everybody. And then if you see that people are clicking on a certain link, that's one way to segment it. So maybe you have some information about a good deed that you've done. That was helped by philanthropic giving. You might tell that story, and anybody who clicks on that link, you could add them to the segment for people who might be interested in year-end giving. I hope that helps. Have you found any correlation between the unsubscribe rate and how that person got on your email list? Like with page-specific value adds, are people more likely to unsubscribe after they get the material they were promised? I have not done that, and I'm not exactly sure how you might do it because just of the way that everything is set up. The bottom line is if you have page-specific value adds or whatever your method is, there's always going to be a small percentage of people who sign up and unsubscribe immediately. You know what? That's okay. If your content is that valuable, they're probably going to want to sign up again anyways. And you maybe be able to create some value add that even encourages them to come back to the website. And here's a little kind of ninja trick. Let's say that you have this list of unsubscribes, people who have unsubscribed at some point. You could actually take that list and put it up to Facebook and start advertising to that list of people, assuming that they used the same email address to sign up as they did for Facebook. But if that were the case, you can at least stay in front of those people and continue to market to them. Now, if they downloaded your thing and they immediately unsubscribed and they have no interest of hearing from you again, they probably weren't going to be great customers anyways, so I really wouldn't lose any sleep over that. I hope that helps, Rebecca. I have a list of 11,000, but with a low open rate. What kind of newsletter open rate should we look for? Any tips? What about subject lines? Great questions. And by the way, this email marketing one was definitely more on list building. And based on some of these questions, I think I'll go in and do some more email marketing webinars in the future on things like segmentation and subject lines as well, and how to get past ISPs and all that good stuff. But first, this question. I think it varies industry by industry, and the bigger your list, the lower your open rate tends to be, just because people get tired of you and they stop opening, your emails over time, that sort of stuff. I've heard not industry specific, but you might find anywhere from 16 to 20% is typical for an email open rate. Yes, subject lines. Let me just say that January newsletter is never a good idea for an email newsletter subject line. You should definitely be finding ways to try and get people interested or intrigued by the subject. Either you want to tell them exactly what they're going to get in the email, like 20% off of all products in our store, or you want to have some intrigue, like you'll never guess what's on sale this week. So those are a couple of different tactics that you can use. You can also do A/B split testing. Almost all the email service providers out there offer some sort of A/B split testing, so you could try out 2 subject lines, and the winner then, maybe they send out, say, 100 to 2 random groups, and then the one with a higher email rate, the rest of the emails goes out with that subject line. So that's definitely some things that will help. The other thing is, if you find that you've got emails, you can sometimes run these reports depending on your ESP. People who haven't opened up your email in 6 months or a year or 2 years, you're probably paying for the size of that list. And if there's 3,000 people on that list and you are paying more because you broke the 10,000 mark, it might be worth, first of all, going in. The first thing you do is you get rid of all the bounces. So just clear out your bounces, and you can do that through your email service provider, and then take a look at the size of your list, and then many of them will let you run reports to see who hasn't opened an email in a significant portion of time. And you could do a couple things. One is you might just email them and say, hey, you haven't opened an email in a while, so I'm guessing that you're not interested. If you are interested, click on this link. I'll keep you on the list. But if you're not interested, I'm just going to take you off the list. No harm, no foul. And that takes a little bit of work. And again, the benefit of that is having a higher open rate and maybe lowering your monthly cost. There's also maybe some evidence that if you have a lower open rate, that it hurts you across the board. So it might make sense to kind of get rid of some of that dead weight. Should we plug in the person's name in the newsletter or keep it generic? I'm a big fan of putting in somebody's name. I really like the way Chris Brogan does it, where it's kind of a surprise. Like he might start off by saying Rich, whatever, but then sometimes he'll throw my name into the middle of the email newsletter, and it's always kind of, and I know it just on his end says open bracket name close bracket, but it does grab your attention. So yeah, whenever possible, you should be personalizing and customizing your emails. Should emails look pretty, email newsletter formats with images, or look like regular text emails? It seems like the trend is towards the latter. So that's a great question. There is no right answer. If you talk to the people from like Constant Contact and MailChimp, they tell you that you should be using beautiful imagery that engages your audience and gets them to click through to your website or store. If you look at somebody like Amy Porterfield or Derek Halpern, they all look like regular emails that you might get from a friend. I think you have to decide what's best for you. So if you've got a community that's looking to you like a friend or a guru or a leader, you might end up going more with that text-looking email. If you've got a brand that needs some serious branding, then I think you probably want to go with more of the pretty images. The one thing both sides seem to agree on is email is more about transporting people from their inbox to your destination. So you want to keep it short and sweet and make sure that call to action in the email is so obvious. And that's really what I would focus on. And again, this is probably something that's just worth testing. All right, those are all the questions I got. If you were feeling shy, you didn't want to ask the question now, if it comes to you in the middle of the night, you can always find me. My email is rich@takeflyte.com. I'll also be sending out follow-up emails with a bunch of good information in it, including our next webinar, which is going to be on search engine optimization on the 23rd, and links to that. Other than that, have a great day, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in.